How we doing, everyone? Hope you guys are having a great weekend. Just wanted to chat with you guys about Black Adam. So I had a chance to see that on Thursday. Wasn't a packed house, but then again, it was Thursday. But the film is doing decently. I know that it's doing like on Rotten Tomatoes. It's the audience score is great, and the critic score is through the ground. And all the reviews that I've watched, and I did watch a bunch before I went, and they all said exactly the same thing, that it was a middle of the road movie. This, is a movie for superheroes that should have been done years ago, or it had the tone of a superhero movie for years ago, and not now after there's basically superhero boredom with all the superheroes that have been out. Marvel is crashing and burning, with the stuff they're putting out. But I have to say that I enjoyed the film. Okay, now I'm going to say the same thing everybody else has said. Is it going to win an Oscar? No. Is it entertaining? Yes. Is it stupid? No, it's not stupid. And that's what we've been getting with Marvel from this point with Thor, Love and Thunder, and with She-Hulk, and with a bunch of other things where we just get stupidity. And we didn't get that this time. And I know everybody brings up Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, but I don't have the same opinion as everybody else with that movie. Everybody hated that movie, and I thoroughly enjoyed that one. I think I've seen it like 6 times. But this one, again, if I compare it to Multiverse of Madness, I actually might like Multiverse of Madness better. But this one was entertaining from start to finish. I liked the twist in it. There's a few things that I did not like. I'm going to keep the beginning spoiler free. But there were some things I did not like in it where, it felt clunky. And I think that's what a lot of people have said, that some of the stuff felt clunky. I did not expect it to be really self-contained. And that's how this film kind of felt, is that it was very self-contained, because it took place just in Kahndaq, which is Black Adam's country. And we get a little bit of the background for him, and his motivations and things to that effect, and that's it, And then we have some weird stuff go on at the end. But it was great to see Sarah Shahari. It was good to see her in a feature again. I think she worked with Stallone on something on a big screen. But otherwise, I know she was in The L Word, and she was in Life or whatever, where the cop just got out of prison, and he was trying to redeem himself or whatever. He won the lawsuit and got himself out. I think it was Life. But anyway, she's a very good actress, and she was very good in this. And I hope that we get to see more of her since the film. Okay, so the film was $200 million to make. That means it needs to make about $500 million to break even. And I know that The Rock's already going on social media and saying this is the hub of what's going to continue with the DC universe, almost like he's Iron Man. That's kind of what happened with Iron Man, that was the hub of the Marvel universe. And I don't think that's the case with Black Adam. I don't think that we can build off Black Adam to build the DC universe. But he's he has just a little bit of an ego there. But they brought in the JLA. The JSA, the JSA, Justice Society of America, and only a few of the members that are really in the JSA. And I love Aldous Hodge. In fact, I even had a conversation with his mother at one of these events that I had gone to, and he was just in Leverage at that point. And I like him a lot, and I was really, really hoping that he was a Hawkman and not the Hawkman, kind of like what Thor did with Valkyrie. So she wasn't the Valkyrie, because the Valkyrie she's a white blonde-haired Norse woman. So she was a Valkyrie because there was many Valkyries. I could buy into that very, very easily. And I was really hoping, because they didn't really go into Hawkman's origin, but he's from Thanagar. He's from a different planet, and they race swapped him. And I was really hoping that he was just going to be a Hawkman, which means the race swapping would mean nothing. But instead, they made him Carter Hall, which Carter Hall is white. Again, we did with the race swapping when we didn't need to. All they had to do was give him a different name, and it would have been fine. But instead, they made him Carter Hall. And his beard was bothering me the whole time because you could see the beard through, the bottom side of the helmet, and that they should have just shaved him. But anyway, so there's some problems there. I really hope that they don't race swap Hawk Girl now, because Hawk Girl is, I think, more popular than Hawkman, especially with her in the cartoons. She was a very, very beloved character in the cartoons, and I really hope they don't race swap her. But anyway, so we'll see what happens with that. Pierce Brosnan stole every scene he was in, just ate up the scenery, and he didn't even have to do that much. Just his presence, and it was the same type of thing with James Bond. Just his presence, he demands respect when he's on the screen, and that's how he did with Dr. Fate. And Dr. Fate was very, very close. All the costumes and everything else were very close to the comics. So I got no complaints there. And, of course, they also race-swapped Cyclone. There's less of a problem with that because Cyclone's a very unknown character. Very unknown. So to race-swap that, nobody's even going to notice. Because nobody knows how that character is. Atom Smasher looked exactly like the comics. But, again, he's a lesser-known character. He's basically Ant-Man when he gets big, and Yellow Jacket, which is the same type of thing as Ant-Man. I think that was all the Professor. But anyway, so the film I thought was a good little arc. It was just entertaining. You're not going to bust your brain on anything. You're not going to try to figure out a mystery. You're not going to do anything. You're just seeing action. That's all you're seeing. And who's right, who's wrong. Is these people from the Kahndaq who have been oppressed? Do they need somebody to just come in there and wipe away all these the bad stuff? What makes a hero? Is a hero not killing? In my opinion, that's exactly what it is. Batman, Superman. They don't kill unless you go to a Zack Snyder film, and then if you go to a Zack Snyder film, all heroes, regardless of person, they take life like it's no existence. So, like Batman, Superman, they don't give a shit in Zack Snyder for his Marvel universe, which is why I don't like this Zack Snyder universe. I hope that just dies a very quick death, and we never have to see it again. And of course, as you know, there's not really a spoiler here because everybody on the internet already knows that Henry Cavill Superman is back. I don't know if I'm happy or not happy about that. I know one of the other YouTubers who was female, that Star Wars girl, said her uterus exploded when she found out that he was going to be back as Superman. And me being a man, I don't have a uterus to explode. So he looks the part, but you can't compare him to Christopher Reeve. Christopher Reeve had a charisma in that costume, and Henry Cavill just doesn't. There's just no screen presence for him. And I really hope that with a good director enlightening the character, they might be able to pull that out of him. And that's why he's so good as The Witcher, because he could just grunt. It's kind of like Jason Momoa. He just grunts and, whatever. But Superman is a very thoughtful character. I mean, he has a lot going on in here, and he knows how to skirt things because he has such power. He has to know how to pull those punches and how to outsmart people and play people at their own game, which is why he and Batman work well together, except that he's so powerful that they have to always give him aliens to play with. So I'm not really happy about that. Tyler Hoechlin, I was hoping that he was going to be a Superman because I actually like him better. But again, I'm not female, so I'm more looking at the charisma of the character rather than, and the actor playing him, than the physique of the actor. So, all right, well, we have Superman back. Let's hope that with a new director, we don't go into the same problem that we had with the Zack Snyder universe, where he can just snap somebody's neck and everybody's fine with it. So I'd like to see obviously a brighter Superman, a more hopeful Superman than the evil, dark Superman that we had. So let's see what happens with that. But again, I like the film for what it was. So, and then on top of that, let's see what happens with the next one. So we have Sarah Shahi's character in this, which may or may not be a love interest. I don't know. And then you had the brother, who was a fat guy in this. And then we had her son. Okay? So in the comics, in the New 52, there was a very, very good Black Adam story in there. I don't know if it was good because he was basically killing everyone. But it's kind of like what we had here. So it'd be interesting if they go in that direction and we kind of see that go there again. But we kind of had a very similar thing here where people were trying to stop him from killing everyone. But what happens in New 52, and of course there's a connection between Black Adam and Shazam, which is Captain Marvel, which we can't call Captain Marvel anymore because Marvel took Captain Marvel. But we'll just call him Shazam. Of course, he can't say his own name or else he'll change. So he has to give himself a different name. But they say the same word because they have the same background, the same origin story for the most part of how they got their powers from the wizards. So to not have Shazam anywhere in existence is just weird. And I understand that he's a lighter character, and I didn't grow up with that lighter character. I grew up with the Isis and Shazam hour. And talking about Isis, so if Sarah Shahi does become the love interest of him, then she will turn into Isis. And again, there was the Isis from television, and then there was the Isis from the comics, and there was no connection between them. Like, I don't think DC owned Isis at that time. Isis had a brother, and the brother turned into a character named Osiris. And because Shazam shared his power, as Shazam did in the movie, with these two people. And they were his family. And they were both killed. And he just goes on a rampage, and there's nobody that can stop him. I mean, and the Justice League at that time wasn't even available to stop him, so he had all these lesser characters. And in fact, he killed Terra, one of the Teen Titans. He ripped Frankenstein's arms off. So he was just going berserk. And I don't know if they're going to go into that story for a next one, because obviously they kind of told that story almost. And again, I did like the twist of how he got his powers. But I'm not going to do any spoilers on this one, but you'll have to see it. But yeah, so we'll see what happens with the story as things go on. Or obviously they're going to do a second one, because will it make $500 million? I don't know. It's at $147 million now between both. And after the opening weekend, what you normally do is you double that. So it only will hit then, if that's the case, it will only hit 400 at most, 400 million. Now, does that mean that it won't make additional money later on when it goes to streaming and things to that effect? Of course it will. Will it make an extra 100 million? Eek. I don't know. And how do I obtain that based on the budget? So here's how the numbers work. So if you have a $200 million budget, then you have an additional 100 million or so for prints and advertising, right? Because you got to advertise it everywhere, all over the country, and not even in the country, the world. And so it's at least 100 million in that. And then, of course, the theaters are going to take 50%. So that's where the 2.5 times comes from when you reach a budget of that level. So normally times, if you have a $30 million film, they're going to do a prints and advertising probably of $60 million. It's going to be more than the budget. So we'll see what happens, but I don't know how they can make that. I mean, Love and Thunder only made $600 million and barely broke even because of a $250 million budget. So I don't know what's going to happen. So they're calling this a success, but is it really? You know, is it going to make $500 million? I guess time will tell. You know, it's kind of like what happened with Top Gun, Maverick. You know, that thing had tremendous legs to the point where it's up to like 1.3 or more billion, and you know, I think it's still making money now. But that thing never left the theater. I think it just left, which is highly unusual. Will Black Adam have those kind of legs? That's the question. If it does, then yes, it'll make the extra $100 million, especially if it releases internationally. To you know, kind of like with Tom Cruise is a huge, huge international superstar. You could do almost nothing here, and he will still make $1 billion internationally. Does The Rock have that kind of pull internationally? Because I'm sure there's still a ton of different nations that haven't picked it up yet. And will China pick it up? With the amount of violence that's in it, will China pick it up? I don't know. It doesn't really have any virtual signaling in it. There's no LGBTQ connotations in it, like what hurt Lightyear. So chances are, even with the amount of violence, China might pick it up, and that would really, really help the film. So anyway, tell me your thoughts, and let me know if you've seen it. Did you like it? Is it middle of the road, like what everybody else said? Like everybody else is like a 5 out of 10. So it was like middle of the road for everybody. Not a bad movie, not a good movie. I'm more along the lines of 7. Again, not any higher than that. I think it was a good movie. It was an enjoyable movie. Will I watch it again? Maybe. Will I watch it 6 times like I did with Multiverse of Madness? And most of the time I watched that purely for Elizabeth Olsen because I thought she knocked it out of the park, and I'm a huge Scarlet Witch fan. And that's mostly why I rewatched that movie over and over again. But will this one have the rewatchability? That I don't know, because you know, you really don't have a clear line to who's a hero and who's a villain. You know, and here it's the villain is the hero, right? So I don't know. We'll get, again, time will tell. I'll be interested to see how this works out. And I did miss having the pointed ears on him and hair. I don't know why they didn't do, you know, the pointed hair on him, a thin layer of hair to make him look closer. But, you know, this is going to be the second time that Namor doesn't have. Yeah, then again, I don't even want to get. I'll do another video on Namor. But yeah, I kind of missed having that. But anyway, let me know what you guys think. Do you think this thing has legs and will continue up to that $500 million level or not? All right, and what does this mean with the DC universe, especially when they're doing the Flash next, of which I'm going to completely pass on, and I think a lot of other people are as well, because of Ezra Miller, and they've already said that Ezra Miller will not be the Flash again. So why? I understand they have a lot of money and they have to release it, but it's going to do nothing except be a standalone film. Anyway, talk to you guys soon, and make sure you subscribe and share and all those YouTube things. All right, have a great day.